It's an incredible honor for me to be here to celebrate my partner and dear friend, Grace Speights, as she's recognized with the Servant of Justice Award. I can't think of any more deserving recipient. It's impossible in the limited time I have to capture the majesty of the woman we celebrate tonight. Raised by a single mother in Philadelphia, Grace has made giving back to others the hallmark of her illustrious career. Even as she evolved into one of the leading employment and trial lawyers in our country, recognized in 2018 as the American Lawyer Attorney of the Year, and elected in 2014 to the American College of Trial Lawyers, Grace made sure that her public service kept pace with her private practice. Grace is one of the most respected people I know. She's been elected to our firm's advisory board and compensation committee multiple times. She led our premier global labor and employment practice for over a decade. She has chaired almost every committee in our firm that exists and has also extended her public service beyond our walls. She served as the chair of the board of trustees for George Washington University for almost 7 years, seen the organization through COVID and turmoil faced by higher education in our world. Her commitment to our pro bono practice is profound and deep. She makes time and space for the hardest of cases, no matter how busy her practice is. The people in this room know this. They've seen it, they've lived it. There are several remarkable things about Grace, and I want to speak about only 4. First, Grace is among the more modest people I know. You would not know of her accomplishments and achievements from her. Her impact is real and huge, but quiet. She neither seeks nor celebrates fame or attention, but she's the center of it in all the circles that matter. Second, she's an incomparable mentor and friend. This room is full of people Grace has counseled, championed, sponsored, and pushed forward, many of them not even at our firm. Her imprint is present throughout our firm and throughout the entire legal profession. Third, Grace is committed to justice and progress. After the murder of George Floyd, I felt the need and importance of doing something to have Morgan Lewis take a leading role in making a difference in the world. So of course, I called the busiest person I know, because I knew that Grace would share this commitment and make it a priority. And the two of us agreed together that we were not going to leave this profession until we did something. For 6 years, she worked tirelessly to find ways for us to leave the world better than we found it. We set up more than 10 different work streams, ranging from voting rights to economic opportunity, to working with government, to educating ourselves and our next generation, all with a view to making a real difference in the world. And because Grace was leading the charge, everyone wanted to participate. Finally, I want to talk about Grace's humanity. With all her achievements and accomplishments, Grace is an incredibly decent, empathetic, thoughtful human being. She cares about people, about fairness, about justice, all of it. She cares. She's not just admired, she's beloved. And when I need counsel or a voice of reason or a sanity check or just a trusted friend, it's Grace that I call. Gracie, you are a force to be reckoned with. You entered a profession where no one looked like you, and you broke every wall, ceiling, and barrier there was. Your principle, integrity, moral compass, and dedication are simply without parallel. You're a wonderful mother, wife, partner, confidant, colleague, and friend. You are the epitome of the trusted advisor, not just to clients, but to everyone. You're the gold standard, and we need more people just like you. Congratulations, and thank you for inspiring all of us to be the best version of ourselves and to try to live up to your example.
There's just only one of her.
She is a person who has such a unique combination of being incredibly smart, incredibly determined, very results-oriented, the consummate professional, at the same time that she is one of the most wonderful friends you would ever want to have.
can take a look at Grace's career and see that it's possible to do well in addition to doing good.
When I think about, in the law firm world, the idea of service and a culture of pro bono work, it really starts to me from the top down. And Grace was certainly someone who embodied that idea.
Lester Bauer Jr. has been on death row since 1984.
The Lester Bauer case was a capital punishment case, and we decided to take it on because it raised significant issues about actual innocence. And he had already been convicted and had already been in jail on death row in Texas for about 5 or 6 years.
Everybody was having a tremendous amount of problems getting lawyers. I happened to luck out.
We had people that cared about us and cared about justice, cared about the injustice that was going on, and fought valiantly, fiercely, for years.
We represented Les for 28 years.
And we worked very hard and were able to uncover a lot of evidence that showed that Mr. Bauer was innocent.
They were the first people to actually show that, there was hope, and we latched onto it.
We had hope, but we faced so many procedural barriers, so many barriers in the community.
The same court in Sherman, Texas, had held that we were entitled at least to a new sentencing proceeding. State appellate court rejected that.
31 years and 6 execution dates. I've been around the horn. I've been here before. I try not to let this bother me.
Well, Les was executed on June 3rd, 2015.
I can't even fathom the hours they put into our case, the effort, the tears, and God only knows the money. To us, that didn't mean as much as it did the love and the tears.
She's in a million different places at once.
Grace somehow finds time to do it all. I've never quite figured out how she does that. I think she secretly has 25 or 26 hours in the day.
One of the things that's extraordinary about Grace are the many different areas in which she is truly excellent. She is an amazing higher education leader. She's been chair of GW's board for over 6 years.
It's like drinking from a fire hose because there's a lot that goes on, especially now given the attacks on higher education and universities.
She took office at a very contested time. She saw us through COVID. She ushered in 2 presidential transitions, not just one. And through it all, she always maintained a sense of positivity and a sense of purpose. There is absolutely no doubt that GW was better off because Grace Speights was our board chair.
So much of her career and her time and her energy has been devoted to justice, to serving others, and figuring out how she can make the world better and really dedicating herself to that.
When you're early in your career and you have a leader of that magnitude believe in you, it really changes you.
I think one of the most important things that she taught me was to always be looking behind you for that opportunity to open that door for someone else, to lift someone else up.
I honestly don't know what my career would have looked like without Grace, and I think one of the most notable things about Grace is that so many people can say that.
I don't think I would have a career at the level that it's at without her. She has opened doors for me, but beyond that, has reconstructed the hallways that I walk down. So I've never told Grace thank you, but she's retiring soon, so these are things I am thinking about, and I do get sad thinking about what it's going to be like without her.
There's a lot of different kinds of people in law firms, and Grace happens to be one of the good ones.
Wow. Thank you, Jamie, for that wonderful introduction and for your leadership as chair of our firm, over the last 12 years. More importantly, thank you for your leadership, your support, your friendship over the last 40 plus years. I won't add the other numbers behind that. And I want to congratulate Elizabeth Prelogger on receiving the Servant of Justice Award. You are very inspiring, and I really applaud you. But good evening, everyone. Standing here tonight is a little surreal for me. As some of you know, I grew up in what was a very poor and rough neighborhood in South Philadelphia. I was raised by a single mom who only had an 8th grade education, and she worked for minimum wage in a factory 6 days a week to try to make ends meet. If someone had told her that one day her daughter would be standing at a podium before hundreds of people in what she would call a fancy hotel in downtown Washington, D.C., receiving something called the Servant of Justice Award, she probably would have said two things. First, she likely would have said, "That would be wonderful, and I would be so very proud of you." But second, and more importantly, she would have said, "Grace, make sure you say thank you." Well, Mom passed away 4 years ago, just a month shy of her 97th birthday. Despite working in a factory, she lived for 97 years. And believe it or not, today is her birthday. So she would have turned 101 today. But I am sure that she is looking down from heaven right now saying, "Grace, I am so proud of you, and don't forget to say thank you." So that's where I'm going to begin. And I want to thank Legal Aid DC for this incredible honor. The work your organization does every day, helping people stay in their homes, protecting workers, supporting survivors, and ensuring that people who otherwise could not afford a lawyer still have access to justice, is essential to the health of our community and our legal system. My mother didn't have the opportunity to pursue much formal education, but she had something just as important: a deep belief in fairness, hard work, and helping others when you can. She believed that if you were fortunate enough to have opportunities, you had a responsibility to use them well and to use them to help other people. And that is the lesson that has stayed with me throughout my life. And it really came into sharp focus during our work on the case of State of Texas versus Lester Bauer. In 1989, after coming back from maternity leave, following the birth of my son, Hank, who is here tonight, along with his older sister, Ashley, Morgan Lewis was asked by the NAACP Legal Defense Fund and the Texas Resource Center to take on Les's case. By the time we took that case on, Les had already been on death row for 5 years in Texas. After being convicted of killing 4 men, allegedly in the course of stealing an ultralight hang glider worth about $2,000. Now, Les had gone to college, played a little football while he was there, came from a very supportive and religious family, was married, and had 2 very young daughters, and he also had a job that paid more than enough to buy that hang glider. There was substantial evidence that Les was innocent, but unfortunately, the lawyer whom his family had retained and paid $100,000 to represent him in the trial court, he only put in about 80 hours of work on the case, 4 counts of capital murder, 80 hours on the case, before trial. He did no investigation, and he used Les's wife, Sherry, as his legal assistant, even though Sherry had no legal training at all. The case required years of work on Les's case by our Morgan Lewis team. Peter said 28, I thought it was 28 years, 26 years, but 26, 28, that's all the same. It was a long time. Sherry and Les's family gave us tremendous support over those 26 years, and they became like family to our team. Les's oldest sister, Cheryl Bauer Smiley, and her husband, Mike, traveled from Oklahoma to be with us tonight. I am deeply honored and so happy that they are here. Over the long time that we represented Les, our team, I should say, made numerous trips to Texas and Oklahoma looking for and interviewing potential witnesses. We put in hours and hours of research and briefing and litigation in state and federal court in Texas and in the US Supreme Court. We had numerous days of execution and a great deal of strategy and persistence by an extraordinary group of lawyers and advocates at Morgan Lewis. Unfortunately, we ran out of options on June 3rd, 2015, when Les was put to death by lethal injection after the US Supreme Court denied our last petition for stay of execution, even though we had strong evidence of Les's actual innocence. I will never forget the moment when we received the news and the news that Les was executed shortly thereafter. After everything that had happened, after decades of uncertainty and years of legal work, Les's last statement before being lethally injected was very heartfelt and impactful on our team. His last words were, quote, "Much has been written about this case. Not all of it has been true, but the time is over, and now it is time to move on. I want to thank my attorneys for all that they have done. They have afforded me the last quarter of a century. I would like to thank my wife, my daughters, family, and friends for unwavering support. I have fought the good fight. I held the faith. I'm not going to say goodbye. I will simply say until we meet again. I love you all very, very much." Les's last statement has stayed with me over the years following his death, because in many ways, it symbolizes what pro bono work is about. It is about making sure that people are not forgotten by the legal system. It's about ensuring that everyone, regardless of their circumstances, has someone willing to stand beside them and fight for them to the end, regardless of what the end might be. The work on Les's case was truly a team effort, and I want to recognize and thank the extraordinary team that worked on the case, especially my retired partner and friend, Peter Buscemi, whose intellect, leadership, and commitment were instrumental throughout the process. I also want to recognize my former partner, Anthony Roth, who worked on Les's case from the day that we took it on until Anthony sadly passed away in September of 2014. Anthony brought tremendous skill, compassion, and dedication to the case. Anthony made a lot of trips to that Huntsville prison to visit with Les, and he really developed a special relationship with him. Anthony cared deeply about justice and about the people affected by the legal system. He cared deeply about Les. His contributions made a real difference, and he is greatly missed. His wife, Dina, is here with us tonight. Thank you, Dina, for being here. I have been incredibly fortunate to practice at a law firm that believes strongly in pro bono work and community service. I want to thank my colleagues at Morgan Lewis, many of them are here tonight, for supporting this work and for recognizing that the responsibilities of lawyers extend beyond the clients who pay for our services. I also want to thank President Gramberg and my George Washington University family and some of my trustees. They're here tonight. GW gave me the opportunity to go to law school on a scholarship. And the outstanding law school faculty there taught me the legal skills that have allowed me to have an extraordinary legal career over the last 44 years. I am so happy and honored to have been able to give back to the university by serving on the Board of Trustees for the last 13 years and as chair of the board for the last 7 years. I'm also grateful for my many mentors, sponsors, colleagues, and friends who have encouraged me and inspired me over the years, especially, and she's going to kill me for this, my ride or die friend who is here tonight, Donna Hill Staton, who I met on my first day of law school at GW. We became roommates, and she has been one of my biggest cheerleaders over the last 44 years. Most importantly, I want to thank my family, my husband Charles Johnson, and my children Ashley and Hank. They have supported me through long hours, late nights, days and weeks at a time when I had to be on the road and away from home, and more than a few stressful moments over those many years. Their love, support, and humor and encouragement have made everything possible. And despite Mom's absence from the home on many days and nights due to work, Ashley and Hank turned out to be great kids. And they're even greater adults. Thanks to Grandma being in our home, taking care of them, and I believe still looking down on them from heaven, taking care of them. Receiving this award is a tremendous honor, but I also see it as a reminder of something that has been true throughout my career. Being able to go to law school and become a lawyer is a privilege. The opportunity to practice law and to use it to help others is an extraordinary gift. For someone who grew up in South Philadelphia with a mother who worked in a factory and made minimum wage, the chance to become a lawyer and to spend a career advocating for others is something I will never take for granted. There are many people in our communities who need advocates. There are many voices that need to be heard. Organizations like Legal Aid DC remind us every day that access to justice is not automatic and it cannot be taken for granted. It is something that must be protected, strengthened, and expanded. I am deeply honored by this recognition, and I am proud to stand with all of you in supporting the mission of Legal Aid DC. Thank you.